Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and with me as always Shruti Mishra. These are the top headlines from the startup world. True Diamond, a lab-grown diamond jewelry brand, has raised 26 crore rupees in its pre-Series A round led by India Quotient with participation from existing investors, Titan Capital Winners Fund and Huddle Ventures. The capital will be used to accelerate omni-channel strategy.
Process has concluded its inaugural Tech Found Her Challenge, awarding $100,000 in equity-free grants to 4 women-led startups. The initiative addresses market data showing Indian women-led startups received less than 3% of total venture funding in 2023.
Zerodha CEO Nitin Kamath expects SEBI's new margin trading facility rules to cushion some of the losses due to stricter F&O rules. Forecasts for 10 to 20% drop in its broking business, says overall business should be all right this year, also sticks to their no IPO stance. That's an exclusive.
Just days after exiting the White House, Elon Musk calls Trump's so-called big, beautiful tax bill a disgusting abomination. The bill is estimated to add nearly $4 trillion to the US deficit.
Chipmaker Nvidia has once again become the most valuable publicly traded company in the world. The company's market capitalization stands at $3.45 trillion, surpassing Microsoft's market cap of $3.44 trillion. The chip giant has been trading places with Apple and Microsoft for the top position since last June. Nvidia's growth was propelled its AI chips, which are used by companies including OpenAI to develop ChatGPT. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening on What's Brewing Today. GyanDhan, India's first education loan marketplace, has raised 50 crore rupees in a Series A funding from Class Plus and Pravega Ventures. Founded by IIT alumni, the company plans to expand its footprint across 50 plus Tier 2 and 3 cities, double its lending partners and scale a network of education consultants to drive loan originations worth 18,000 crore rupees over the next 3 years. As the company ramps up operations and strengthens its NBFC play, how is GyanDhan planning to grow its revenue streams in the next phase of expansion? Joining me now to discuss this further is Ankit Mehra, the co-founder and CEO of GyanDhan. Ankit, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, the education loan penetration in India is still about under 20%, right? So it's a very small amount of the market. What are the main barriers preventing wider adoption, and what are you doing at GyanDhan to sort of address these issues? If you could take us through your offerings.
Thanks a lot for talking about the relative under-penetration of education loans in the Indian market. I think that is the problem we set out to solve almost 10 years back, and that is the journey we are on. So first of all, to address what are the barriers, to begin with, there is a lack of clarity on what the right products exist or not. If I talk from a lender's perspective, lenders don't have an idea of who to lend to. So if a student is going for a course outside India or even within India, they don't know the employability of that particular course. Given that they don't know the employability and the future outcomes, they then have to rely on the parental income to be able to give out loans. As a result, historically, most of the lending, especially in the study abroad market, has been backed by properties.
Sure.
What we want to solve for is, can we predict future employability of students? If we can predict future employability of students, we have a way to basically give out unsecured loans or semi-secured loans on the basis of the potential of the students. That's the first thing that we want to address. The other aspect is really trying to solve the entire process, because right now the process is quite broken. I mean, I've interacted with parents of HNI clientele who basically don't want to take a loan because of the hassles. Right. So we want to solve the hassle, simplify the process, make it as painless as a personal loan that you get from a digital app. That is really what we want to solve for when it comes to
absolutely. And you know, you've raised this 50 crore rupees. If you could quickly tell us how you hope to expand your presence in Tier 2 and 3 cities using this fundraise, and how you're tailoring your approach to address the specific needs of students and families in these regions. If you could take us through, the other sectors you're looking to tap into as well.
Sure. So as you mentioned, we are looking to use these funds to really expand our footprint in the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. So what we realize is there's a lot of lack of information in these cities. So what we want to have is our presence, feet on street, on the ground, work with our consulting partners to be able to provide a platform where students can come and the parents can come and get their queries answered. They'll have a clarity on what the really process entails. they will have a way to simplify the loan application process. So for example, we work with lenders wherein we act as the customer facing interface for the lender. So the student doesn't really have to go and interact with the lender 10 times. The student can actually go through a tech-driven process and get the entire list of documentation at one go. They get even the hand-holding in cases where they're not as digitally savvy as someone else. So these funds will really be used for us. One is to improve our technology, but also to expand our footprint, whereby we'll be able to touch more students in different age geographies.
Sure. And if you could sort of, take us through the current loan book, you have partnerships as well as your own NBFC, right? So how do you plan to grow this further? What's the target and what about NPAs?
Sure. So as far as the loan book is concerned, so to begin with, from a marketplace perspective, as you mentioned, we work with over 15 lenders, both domestic and international lenders. And our belief is that there is a lot of work we can do working with our existing lending partners and onboarding new partners to expand the footprint. What we intend to do essentially is kind of work with more lending partners and increase our loan book. To give you a context, we've done 7,000 crores since inception. The last year we did roughly 2,000 crores in loan origination. And over the next 3 years, we have a target to reach out to 18,000 crores in loans as far as the study abroad segment is concerned.
Sure.
In perspective, last year we helped roughly 5,000 students secure loans for studies abroad. Coming to the domestic market, that's the segment that we are operating through our NBFC. And that's the segment where we are doing skill development loans, and we continue to do so.
Sure. And if you could take us through the kind of revenues that you're clocking and where do you hope to end this year, where will the next leg of growth come from? You're looking at new sectors to expand into?
Yeah. So I think we don't really need to look at new sectors per se for now, because like you said in your introduction, there is only 20% penetration. So and if you look at different segments, the penetration is actually as low as 5 to 7%. So for us, the key thing is we have to take that penetration as high as 45%. And that is really the key growth area that we want to focus on. We don't want to kind of diversify and add on 10 different divisions and kind of dilute our focus. There will be certain areas where we will expand depending on the customer needs, but very clearly our focus for the foreseeable future is really how do we simplify the process? How do we expand the reach so that every student who is targeting higher education knows that there is something that can help them secure financing. They don't have to worry about financing. GyanDhan will be there to help them secure the right financing for their needs.
Right. And, with the current macroeconomic headwinds and visa uncertainties affecting overseas education, how is GyanDhan sort of pivoting or diversifying its offerings?
Sure. So, like you mentioned, there is definitely a relative slowdown in this market with the visa uncertainties and different geopolitical uncertainties. We actually feel this is more of a temporary stance, and some of this will ease out in the due course of time. If you look at it, there is demand side as well as supply side things in favor of this market. So we are again squarely focused on ensuring that as the market eases up, we help increase penetration. And we are really starting out. So for us, really at this point in time, even with the slowdown in the geopolitical, the macroeconomic scenario, that really doesn't affect our growth plans per se.
Absolutely.
There are other segments we are actively pursuing. Like I said, the skill development segment. We are working right now with the Government of India's Skill Development Loan Program, and we are looking to see how we can make a meaningful dent in terms of skilling up India.
Sure. Absolutely. And, thank you so much for talking to us, Ankit, and we wish you all the best on this journey going forward.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, continuing with our focus on the edtech sector. India's professionals are doubling down on upskilling in FY26, and according to Great Learning's latest report, 81% plan to invest in new skills, 73% feel confident about job retention, and 78% see AI as a career enabler, not a threat. The shift is clear. Professionals are embracing Gen AI, prioritizing certificate programs over traditional degrees and chasing both financial growth and work-life balance in equal measure. To decode the numbers and what they signal about the future of learning and work, I'm now joined by Hari Krishnan Nair, the co-founder of Great Learning. Hari, welcome to Startup Street. Job retention confidence has jumped 11 points year on year. What do you think is driving this optimism among professionals, especially in large firms and tier 1 cities?
All right. First of all, thank you for having me. So I think this optimism is really being driven by the impact that professionals are seeing in terms of AI. So last year, there was a lot of apprehension around whether there would be job losses. But this year, there's more confidence, especially in Indian markets and professionals working in India. And they see that AI is a great enabler for them to do their jobs better and grow in their careers. And that's where the optimism comes from.
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, your report finds that 78% of professionals are optimistic about AI's impact on their careers. What's changed, Hari, in the perception of AI over the last year? Also, there's a surprising gap. MBA and BCom graduates are more optimistic than B and BTech professionals. What's behind that?
So I think the general sense of optimism is, as I mentioned, stems from the fact that more and more professionals are now realizing that AI is an enabler, or they need to consider AI as an enabler at their workplace. And upskilling in AI is the way that they can secure their careers and grow in their careers. So I think with that realization, people are more optimistic and more confident about how they want to tackle the challenges at the workplace and grow their careers. In terms of when we look at the levels of confidence between, let's say, BTech candidates and MBA candidates, I think the difference is that the maximum disruption that AI has brought about, it has been in the tech sector, right? So it's actually engineering and software development jobs that have been challenged. And that's why there is some amount of, let's say, pessimism in terms of what the future looks like when we look at tech roles. But for everybody else, it's more about, how do we get to do our jobs better? And even within engineering roles also, I feel that this is only a transition phase. And we will see more and more engineering professionals understand and embrace AI as just the new normal.
All right. The report mentions that 60% of professionals are now using Gen AI extensively for learning. What are some of the most innovative or impactful ways you've seen learners leverage these tools?
Just for context, at Break Learning, we've trained over 12 million learners, globally from about more than 170 countries. And these professionals come across various roles and sectors, from technology to marketing to finance to legal to HR and so on. And what is very evident is that irrespective of what function or, which career line you've chosen, professionals today are using AI to do their jobs better. Right. So marketing professionals are using AI to create better content. Software professionals, of course, are using AI, to put out code faster, to iterate better. Designers are using AI. Lawyers are using AI to put out their first drafts. So I think this is a trend, a revolution that is really sector and role agnostic. Everybody gets to become better if they embrace AI, if they know how to use AI.
All right. Let's quickly talk about upskilling now, with 81% planning to invest in it this year. Which skill areas are seeing the highest demand, and what's driving that interest?
Well, I mean, the front runner by far, from with long margin, is really AI and Gen AI. Starting from recent college grads who are looking to acquire skills such that they become more employable, to mid to senior professionals who are looking to upskill in AI and Gen AI to essentially lead their teams better. So AI and Gen AI are definitely the number one skill that is being sought by learners across all cross sections, across all geographies, India and abroad.
Okay. Now, the report notes a clear shift from master's degrees to short format certificate programs. What's fueling this trend? Is it cost, flexibility, or employer preference?
I think it's a mix of multiple factors. One is time, right? So not all professionals have 2 years to dedicate towards a master's degree. There are several professionals and learners who want to acquire skills at a much faster pace. So that's why they gravitate more towards upskilling and certificate programs. And the other part is that for most part, our conventional degrees have not updated their curriculum or are not as impactful in learning experiences as compared to upskilling and certificate programs, which are really cutting edge and resonate well with the industry in what the industry expects.
Okay. The report also mentions that 82% of professionals are job hunting, but it's not just about salary anymore. Work-life balance matters just as much. So how are you seeing this play out in learner expectations and in program design?
So career growth has always been the key reason for learners and professionals to upskill. I think that has always been the case even before the AI revolution dawned upon us. The difference that we are seeing, and in fact, what most professionals are experiencing and most organizations are experiencing, is that with efficient and impactful use of AI, you can do the same quantum of work in lesser amount of time. Right.
Yeah.
So there are two benefits to it. One is that if you are in today's job market, if you are equipped with AI skills, your career opportunities improve in terms of better jobs, better salaries, better companies, and so on. And secondly, because you're able to do the same quantum of work in a lesser amount of time, it also gives you, more time for other things in life, and thereby improving your work-life balance.
Okay. Well, on that note, I'll have to wrap up our conversation. But many thanks, Hari, for joining us on Startup Street. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
With that, it's time for us to head into a short break. But coming up, legendary cricketer Jonty Rhodes has joined hands with India's sports and fitness brand UpYourFit as a strategic investor and brand ambassador. A special conversation coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.
Jonty Rhodes, widely regarded as one of the greatest fielders in the history of cricket, has teamed up with Indian sports wellness startup UpYourFit, not just as a brand ambassador, but also as a strategic investor. Now, founded in 2023, UpYourFit aims to bridge the key gaps in India's fitness and sports market, especially when it comes to areas like recovery, pain relief, and hygiene. But to unpack what this partnership really means and what lies ahead for this young startup, joining me now is UpYourFit's co-founder, Vikram Gunjal, along with cricketer and investor Jonty Rhodes, who really needs no introduction. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. And Jonty, to start with you, you've played so many roles, cricketing, coach, mentor, and now you're backing a young Indian company. What was it about UpYourFit, the t-shirt you're wearing, that made you say, you're not just going to endorse it, you're going to put your money into it?
Well, I think in a big way, as a former cricket player, I've also really been a sports enthusiast all my life, and also ensured since retirement that I'm still involved in the game, and most importantly, my lifestyle, the health and wellness sort of regiment or journey that I'm on, a lot of that involves now social sport, and that's certainly something that I've seen in India has taken up. And with regards to that, I mean, I've really enjoyed from the first conversation that I've had with Vikram and Monish about UpYourFit, is that what they are trying to bring to the market and what they are trying to do. So I really resonated with their products and the role that they're going to play in the market in India.
Well, let's go back to that conversation. Vikram, then, take us back to the first conversation you had with Jonty Rhodes. Was it a pitch, a product demo, or something else entirely? And what really convinced him to come on board as an investor, as per you?
No, I think, thanks for that question. the first conversation was all about hero worship, right? I mean, this is a person that we have actually seen on TV, admired his feats. So for us, just being able to engage with him was a privilege, and that's something that we don't discount. Obviously, the first interaction was all about, telling us our vision for UpYourFit, to Jonty, and hearing from him how he believes we should be able to take this ahead. And that conversation really gave us a lot of confidence because Jonty truly bought into this vision like nobody else. And in fact, he started adding a lot to it. And which is why we believe that creating a sports and fitness pain relief, discomfort solution for Indian sports and enthusiasts is the right thing to do, because Jonty Rhodes gave us the confidence that it is the right thing.
Well, Vikram, what you haven't told us is the scale of this investment and what the nature of the partnership with Jonty Rhodes really is.
Absolutely. So he is on board both as a brand ambassador and as an investor. And we are currently in operations with raising a round. So I will not be able to disclose further details. But just having his presence, not only from the perspective of the personality that he is, but the individual that he is in terms of his understanding of fitness and sports, for giving us feedback into our product development, into our brand development, is huge value to us. And which is why we believe it's the best partnership that we have been able to cultivate in our short journey till now.
Well, Jonty, you had such a long and such a special connection with India. What is it really about the country that keeps you coming back, now betting big on the fitness culture here?
Well, obviously, from a work perspective, cricket has always been really popular in India, and it's a no-brainer if you're a cricket coach or if you're a player that you want to be in India and play in the IPL, because I mean this is very much where the sort of the center of the cricketing world is. But the reason why I've always loved coming back to India is that as a young man, I grew up in apartheid era South Africa, and that was basically segregation by the white minority government of all people of different races, colors, and ethnicity. So I grew up with no diversity in my community and my neighborhood, my schools, and even at and mostly at my university. But what I've really discovered in India is that the more you learn about other people, the more you learn about yourself. And everyone talks about the diversity across the different states in India. But I've been fortunate to be able to spend time living in India. My family and I, we moved to Goa between October and March every year. And children go to school. And we really are on the ground. And that's where you connect with people. If you fly over the country at 30,000 feet or drive through it on a team bus that's AC and they've got police escort front and back, you don't really connect with the people. And I've been really grateful because I'm still on a path of discovery, even at the sort of age of 55. And the most amazing thing with this UpYourFit, the timing was incredible. And I think a lot of things in life, or it's karma or it's just fate and meant to happen, because I was now playing in a Masters League, and the products that I was exposed to at UpYourFit were perfect for what I was needing. So it was for the warm-up, and it was most importantly for recovery, because at 55, I've discovered that there is no off button. I'm still diving and flying around the field. So I was just really grateful and saw what the products could do and the opportunity going forward in this market in India.
Vikram, back to you. And the recovery and hygiene market in fitness still quite niche, the space you operate in India. Why did you believe now is the right time to scale this space? And what is the size of the opportunity you're chasing with a young company like UpYourFit?
No, so I think that's an incredible question, right? So let's understand this first. This particular venture, UpYourFit, comes as a project of passion for both Manish, my co-founder, and I. And obviously, when we connect with people like Jonty, who are essentially the benchmark in the sporting industry, we get the tailwind over here. But what we are very, very clear about is that it is a $40 billion industry, as pointed out by Deloitte and Google, in terms of sports sport products that are going to grow over the next 6 years in a double-digit range. So we believe that right now, India's sports and fitness enthusiasts are demanding solutions that are tailor-made, that are formatted for them, rather than using solutions which are made for the household, for the 60-year-old housewife or somebody else without prejudice who does not work out, but we are forced to being used those products. You can now see, for example, there are multiple equipments, foam rollers, different brands, whether it's a Boston Up, whether it's a Nike, who are making products for sports and fitness enthusiasts like us. And we believe that with this $40 billion industry, it will keep growing for the next 15, 20 years. And that's why we have entered at the right time.
Well, Jonty, I've got to ask you, what kind of impact or legacy would you personally like to build with your involvement in brands like UpYourFit, for instance, not just as an investor or face of the company, but as someone who has shaped the performance culture of a generation?
Well, I think firstly, and because my wife is a yoga teacher and an architect, she's really taught me to understand that everything is connected. So it's not just about having something that will serve a purpose, but it's a clean product, it's science-backed. And I think from that point of view, I've seen this incredible growth mindset in India. And it's sort of, and as a coach in the IPL, over 16 years out of the 18 that they've played, I've really seen this incredible growth in the positive outlook of young players in India. They want to be the best in the world, and they have become the best in the world. And this platform of IPL has done that. And what I want to see is that people in India on their own fitness and wellness journey, because it's not just about, do you go to the gym? Fitness and health means so many different things. And there are many options. But one, it's about educating people. So I think that is really important from my perspective, is to try and get out to as many people as possible that hey, this journey that you're on, it's going to be tough at times. And I think that's the sort of message that I have. Fielding a backward point, you got injured. It wasn't always an easy walk in the park. But if you are going on this wellness journey, we have the products that will support you and allow you to continue. And recovery, it is so important, because a lot of people start out very, very quickly and sometimes too quickly. And the thing that will knock them down, doesn't allow them to get back, would be an injury. So, from my perspective, it's just about educating people that often they're looking outside of India for something that's a great product. And I think what the key for me is that I have seen this, as I said, this incredible growth mindset, and why look to the West or anywhere else for products that are first and best in class. And I really believe that, products that are made in India have that opportunity to solve specifically Indian issues and provide that sort of service to the Indian market.
Well, you said it certainly wasn't an easy walk in the park, but what, Jonty, you've done is really redefined fielding. It made it a thrilling, game-changing sort of a thing that people watch out for in cricket, but in a sport that really celebrates the number of runs or the number of wickets. How did you really stay confident when your biggest impact wasn't always up on the scoreboard for people to see? And how does that kind of a mindset really carry over in your life and in your work today, perhaps even as a businessman?
Well, it's interesting, because as a cricket player, the scoreboard is all that I was focused on. So when I was saving runs in the field, because if I saved 10 runs, it never changed the score that I had been able to achieve for my side. So, my first job was to try and score the runs. But when you're saving runs in the field, what I really have learned now as a cricket coach and working with young players is really focusing on the process and not the outcome, because that scoreboard doesn't always tell the full picture. And that has certainly been something that I have, and shifted in my mindset, retiring from cricket, working in a bank in South Africa as a business banker I have a commerce degree, and now getting into, to business and in opportunities as an investor and as a brand ambassador. Certainly want to show that the stats don't always tell the full story.
Jonty Rhodes, Vikram Gunjal, both of you, thank you so much for your time today, and we wish you the best with this investment and with this journey going ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.